so I can't really see how it went from tools to management. Does this shot look cool? Hey there. So how did I go from being on the tools, working in the trade of construction, to being the general contractor? Coming up. So I started my company. Jake. So I started my company in 2014, and when I first started, I was a carpenter, and I was dating someone who the parents were like, you can't make much money being a carpenter. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, why are you worried about money? Because, you know, potential future with our daughter is pretty much what it came down to. And that and a couple other things were a big leading thing into why I got my contractor's license. Also, one of my friend's dads kind of wanted to start a business venture with me, and he's like, I really think you should have your general contractor's license first. So I did. I got my general contractor's license, but for the first year of, my dog's ringing the bell. Jake, not now, bro. He rings the bell when he wants to go outside. For the first 12 or 16 months on the tools, heavy, I had a truck, a trailer. I had that thing outfitted. I'd turn the thing on by plugging it in, and the whole thing would just go ding, and all the batteries would start charging. I had all the pull-out drawers, like I built it from scratch. Like, I was a pretty good carpenter, and I could do most things in the trades, you know? And I've done a lot of the different trades, and I built my company around me being able to go build someone a beautiful deck or remodel, put in a room addition on, and just round up a crew and just work. But it came to a point where I was over it. I didn't want to continue just being on the tools. I'm not necessarily built for it, you know? I have flat feet. You guys know I've even had a couple hip surgeries arthroscopically. They didn't cut me open, they just kind of, anyway, story for another time, or not. But long story short, I knew that it wasn't a long-term fit. I wouldn't be on the tools forever. So how did I get off the tools? Well, that's what this video is about. And you're on my YouTube channel, click the like button, or the dislike button, as I always say, if you don't like it. And just give this video a subscribe. Man, it's like my first time. Cut all this out. Now, about 6 years in, because I'm filming this in 2019, I have a senior project manager and superintendents under him, and office staff, and a video editor. It's a lot less stress than when I was doing all of that myself. There's like a level. There's like doing the work itself of construction. Then there's like being the superintendent. There's like being the project manager. Then there's like being the owner or the CEO. And then there's like being the owner. So I've really been learning how to, at this point, I'm the CEO and the owner. I haven't necessarily hired a CEO at 6 years into my company as of the time filming this video. But one day the ultimate delegation would be hire a CEO that I really have to trust and build the systems. But what I'm working on now is building the systems, and I'm training my crews to do things how, and crews, I mean my project manager, the senior project manager, and the superintendents, 2 or 3 superintendents at this point. So I'm training them how to do things how I would do them on a management level, managing our subcontractors who then have their people who actually do the work. So there's definitely like a hierarchy, but how did I actually get off the tools? If you understand this point, is the camera too low? I would say if you understand this point I'm about to make, oh man, he's about to make a point. Bring that camera up. If you understand this point, that if you are a craftsman, continue being a craftsman, because there's a strong need for tradesmen and craftsmen in this world. But if you are legitimately a manager or a CEO, a superintendent, which is the on-site project manager. Then there's the project manager, which is kind of like the in the office, like multiple jobs at a time kind of manager. Then there's the CEO and the owner, but you have to see where you plug in to those roles. So if you're the craftsman, we need you. Please don't stop being a craftsman. But if you legitimately are a project manager, then my advice, and I think the core of this video, would be understand who you are at the core of your skill set and your goals. If you're a project manager stuck as a craftsman, You're in the craftsman cycle, and that's just gonna go and go and go. I was at a Tony Robbins event once, and the one thing I remember is there's too many of you that want to be the owner of the company, but you're artists. And that's what his term was for this craftsman cycle people get stuck in, is you wanna see everything. It's kind of like a perfectionist thing, but you wanna see everything perfect. And when you hire people, it will not be perfect. Period. Never gonna be the way you want it to be. Obviously, there's times where it's like, you did this exactly how I would do it, perfect. But there's always that situation where people have different brains and mentalities and like programming in their mind of how they were brought up and all these things that come into play when they're making decisions in the day-to-day. So you have to understand that if you're a craftsman, nobody can take that away from you. If you hired someone else to do your craftsman work, you would go nuts because you're the craftsman. It's you, it's your name. But if you're wanting to get off the tools and become the manager, because I guess that's the step, is like become the manager of the people working in the tools, manage the swinging of the hammers. The biggest thing you need to understand if you want to do this is that you're putting your name behind other people's work. Their work is directly attributed to your name. And if you can get more and more comfortable with developing your interpersonal skills, your communication skills, your emotional intelligence, the way you talk to people, how many different kinds of people there are, and communicate effectively your point and penetrate your point into the atmosphere of the craftsman, then you can be successful in getting them up to speed, and this whole thing can start working together nicely. And hopefully that answers, at least gives you some of my thoughts about getting off the tools as a general contractor within the construction business. Subscribe for more videos. Peace.